one-off hit, you know.
Yeah.
Nobody will rent the numbers from me anymore. That's not the business model anymore. Yeah, it can't be done now that way, you know. But 15 years ago, it could be done that way, you know.
Interesting.
But I haven't done that. The last one I did was a plumber that I sold to plumbing company that I sold to Pimlico Plumbers, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. That was about 5-6 years ago. Got 40k for that, which was a nice little tickle.
And the trading happened in parallel at the same time?
Yeah, that was because I had nothing to do. So,
but you said you had clients, huh?
I had clients, but it was largely a black box model. It was an algorithm that I wrote. I didn't write the software, but the software did what I told it to do. It was based around stochastics, Bollinger Bands, RSI support. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but
somewhat.
Basically technical indicators, yeah. And the clients that I had, I didn't have to go out and find. They were just people that I knew from the old days when I was in financial services in my 20s.
Okay.
I did 10 years in financial services. I was an investment advisor for a bank that got bought by Lloyd's.
Okay.
So
you still had your network.
Well, I didn't bother to stay in touch with the vast majority of my clients, but I did stay in touch with the top 30 in terms of wealth. Because I always figured, you know, I'd send them a postcard, a Christmas card each year.
Every year?
Yeah, stayed in touch with them.
Isn't that so... You have to tell me this, because I'm struggling with it at the moment. I mean, I'm all for that staying in touch.
Yeah.
Especially strategically.
You've got to bear in mind that I had a very close relationship with that top 30 clients. I'd see them twice a year.
Okay.
You know, and sometimes 3 or 4 times a year for 10 years. Yeah, right through my 20s, you know, into my early 30s.
But still, I mean, the effort of staying in touch, you know, when they're not going to call you.
Well, it's so much easier now. I mean, then I had to buy a Christmas card, stick a stamp on it, and...
Right.
Well, actually, I didn't buy a Christmas. I had personalised cards made, you know. But now it's so easy, isn't it? You've got all these CRMs that you can use, you know. It's all automated. It's fabulous. But one big advantage you have over me, and that is that you've got age on your side. I'm 51 now, and do you know what? I'm a little bit tired, you know. And the reason why I'm back at Addison Lee and haven't done much since 2011, I'm going to something else, is that I'm hugely risk averse now. And I don't know if I want the aggravation to start another business, you know, whereas you're a lot younger, you know, you can take risks, you know, and God, I look back at the risks I used to take, right?
It seems like you always identified and executed, or at least from what you've told me, on, well, aside from the trading one, I'm just focusing on the first one.
Look at this, what's happened here? Goodness me!
What happened?
That car there looks like it tried to run over the pillars. Oh, that's going to create chaos.
Create a fucking queue, right?
Well, I'm not going to come back in for me. I'm going to just sit in Ealing and wait for a job there. That's what I'm going to do. Difficult, but if you are allocated the job at terminal volume, oh, you're in financial something or other.
Huh?
Your account is financial something. What do you do then?
I do private equity.
Oh, right. Well, Addison Lee's just been bought by
PE firm?
Sorry?
It's been bought
by Carlisle.
Carlisle?
Yeah.
£300 million something like that, right?
That's right, yeah.
Fucking hell. And is it true that Addison Lee started between the driver and a client?
No.
Just discussing the business model.
No.
Is that true or not?
No.
How did
Addison Lee was an existing... Well, Addison Lee wasn't. So there was a small company called Time Cars, okay? It was on Queenstown Road in Battersea, okay? And John, he's the chairman of the company, the guy that started it. He always tells the story because it makes a nice story that it was him and one car, but it wasn't. He bought an existing company.
Okay.
And I think there were 4 cars.
But it was.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
And then when he bought the company, he wanted to change the company name. And he had one of his controllers who was living in a squat in Addison Gardens.
Yeah.
Right? And the controller suggested that the company should be called Addison because he felt that Addison had a posh tone about it.
Yeah.
Yeah? And so John liked that idea, so he ran with it. But he wanted to have 2 names for the company. And he wanted a short second name. And the only reason why Lee was chosen was because it was short. That's the only reason. So Addison Lee was born. Then the company name was changed from Time Cars to Addison Lee. That was it.
Addison Lee. And then, but was it that because John, his surname is
John Griffin.
John Griffin. Didn't he have a seed investor who
Ah.
was his client?
Right, not quite. No, what happened was, after a couple of years of operating, John got into tremendous financial difficulty. Okay, the reason was because he was going after account customers, and account customers would pay 1 month later, 2 months later, after the journey's been done. Yeah, and of course he has to pay his drivers every week, a week in arrears, but nevertheless still every week. So he got into tremendous financial difficulty. So he went to Lenny Foster.
Lenny Foster.
Yeah, and said, look, you're not going to have any say in this business, but I need 10 grand. Will you lend it to me and you can have half the company? Lenny agreed. He took half the company for 10 grand. About 10 years later, sadly, Lenny died. The shares, and it was still only a very small company then, the shares of Lenny's passed to his family, in particular his son, Darryl Foster. When Carlisle bought Addison Lee, well, they didn't buy it completely. John and Darryl still owned half the company each, but Darryl sold the majority of his shares, as did John. And Darryl actually had far more of the company than John, because John had given a third of his shares to each of his 2 sons. So he had half the company, but between him and his 2 sons. Yeah. So when John sold the company, the biggest winner wasn't John. It was his family. He was an equal winner, but individually, Darryl was the biggest winner. Yeah, because he got something like 120 million, and he's now out of the company completely.
Where is he now? In Monaco?
Very good guess. Yeah, that's exactly where he is. Yeah.
Thought so.
Because I think if you go away or something, you don't have to pay tax or something. I'm not sure about how it works, but you know.
Another accident.
Yeah, looks like it. So what do you do in private equity then?
So I'm a number cruncher, basically.
You work out the best investments, yeah?
I try to maximize the returns for our funds. We are basically a specialty private equity firm, i.e. we only invest in financial services. So we buy banks, insurance companies, and of the likes. So we don't do manufacturing or anything like that, like a Carlisle. We're not generalists. We just, our bread and butter is financial services, which, funnily enough, we got started during the crisis. Right before 2006 was the first fund, and then everything went tits up. But fortunately, that was actually an opportunity for us because we were able to scoop a few assets, considerably undervalued. So yeah, I mean it's been. I didn't join in 2006. I just joined a year and a half ago. Mostly, there's a bank in Malta which we own. I think you might have heard of it. It's called Mediterranean Bank.
Oh, of course, yeah.
We own that bank.
Uh-huh.
So I focus on that bank. I help on the operational side.
Oh, right.
We're very operationally engaged. I.e., when we buy a company, we're not a passive investor.
No.
So we don't just buy it and trust the management that they'll come up with a solution in 5 years when we exit.
Mm-hmm.
So we're very much from day one working with them to add value, because we obviously buy distressed businesses. We don't buy.
Mediterranean Bank wasn't distressed though, was it?
Well, when we bought it in 2009, it was.
Oh, right.
It used to belong to some Italians who weren't using it for what it was meant to be used for.
Oh, they were laundering money then, yeah?
You could say that. I mean, God knows what they were doing. It was such a mess that we literally, we just to give you an idea, we bought the bank with nothing. I mean, we bought it with 30 million of a balance sheet of 30 million. Today it's 2.1 billion. So we've scaled it up massively. So we did literally, the Maltese regulator took over the bank and they cleaned that up. So we really don't know what happened in reality before that. But it was owned by the, it was taken over by the, and it was taken under administration because it went bankrupt.
Fascinating. I never knew it went bankrupt.
Yeah.
That wasn't public knowledge in Malta.
Apparently.
It was it?
Well, to be honest,
I don't think it was, I would have known something like that. You're saying 2009, yeah?
2009, yeah.
Nah, I would have heard of that.
So ever since 2009, we've completely turned around this bank. I mean, just to give you an idea, the bank was losing money every single year.
Mm-hmm.
It made a profit of 30 mil last year.
Oh, right.
So it's been a wonderful turnaround story. A lot of work. I mean, I can't take credit for that because, like I said, I just joined a year ago.
A lot of money in Malta, very wealthy island.
Yes. Oh, yes. A lot of expat, a lot of money there.
Yeah.
You have a favorable regulator. We, as our funds are based in Guernsey, we get a 5% effective tax rate.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
all profits, we basically get a huge refund on that.
Yeah. My partner, she is managing director of NetX Betting, which is part of Fedvetten, which is the largest. They don't do casino yet, no, but it's the largest horse racing bookmaker in Germany.
Okay.
And she's based in Malta purely for she's German, but based in Malta purely for the favourable tax rate. She doesn't really want me here. She doesn't want me doing this. She takes the view that we're okay financially, and she'd rather have me there looking after. I have a little boy there. He's 6.
Okay.
A happy accident, and she says, look, I lost that money. Water under the bridge. I could start another one if I want to, and she says I should do that again, but. It's all about, you've got to be in the right mindset to trade, and I'm not in the right mindset at the moment. I just want something where I don't have to think too much. I don't have to think too much about this. You've got to be in the right mindset, and also the reason I do this is because it puts a lump of meat on the table. It's independent money, She's on a good whack, but I still like to be independent. I'm not, I've got a bit of money, but nothing like I used to have. I don't like to see my bank balance going down, and it can go down if I don't do anything.
Especially after it went down from 24. Right?
Absolutely, and I'm a real.
After that, I'm sure you're more risk.
Absolutely, yeah, I am, yeah. And the problem that I've got, and the reason why again this is a very good thing to do, is because if I have time, I'm a bit of a party animal, and.
You still are, I take it.
On very strict
I hear you.
occasions.
What's the name of that club next to the Hilton, which I have never been? The 36th floor or something like that?
Oh, that's Club 22.
Club 22.
Oh, yeah, I know the manager there.
Is it any good?
Yeah, it's good, yeah. And you can smoke in there, which is good, because I smoke, But yeah. And the problem that I have is that if I'm not working, I'm partying. You know, I once lost a whole month